Hello guys, today we're gonna talk about some or take some examples on if statements, and we're gonna take two examples. First one is determining if a number is odd or even, and the second one is determining if a year is leap or no. And let's start with the odd and even numbers. Let me open my file or nano, and remember I always start with those. This is the documentation where those are comments. Anything I write here between those two, between this and this, is a comment. That means the compiler won't read it. It's just for me. I can put those are comments, those are comments. And remember, we said, or I said, it's really good to divide your program into four parts: your declarations or your variables, where you're gonna put them, your cins and couts to get the data and print useful messages, your algorithm, and finally printing your result. See out your result. Okay, we need in this program, in the first program, we want to calculate to determine, or let's say write a C++ program that determines if a number is odd or even, and we can take a case where to see if the 0 can be considered as odd or even. So now we need to, what's an odd number or even number? For example, we have, let's consider the 0 as even, or we can take it however you want. It's not gonna make that much difference. Those are even numbers, and those are odd numbers. So let's write an S here. Let's say 1, 3, 5, 13, 17, and so on. So now how can we decide if this is an even number? If I divide by 2, think of it, 2 over 2 is 1, and it will give me a remainder of 0. 4 divided by 2 is 2, remainder is 0. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and remainder is 0. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and remainder is 0. There's no relation between the division result except that is increasing by 1 each time. But the remainder is always 0. If we check those, if we do mod 2, this is going to be 1. Divide by 2, 3 divided by 2 is, if you want to take it as integer operation, meaning I have a quotient and a remainder. The quotient, the division result, is going to be 1. The remainder is also 1. 5 divided by 2 is 2, and remainder is 1. 13 divided by 2 is 6, and remainder is 1. 17 divided by 2 is 8, and remainder is 1. So we can see a relation between the even numbers. What is the relation? Mod 2 will give us a 0 always, and the relation for this one, mod 2, will give us 1 always. So we can think now, what can we do? We can check if the number we enter, and if a number is odd or even, to determine. That's the program. So a number is going to be entered from the user. That number is going to be checked. If that number mod 2 equals 0, that's an even number. We can say else, which is what? The 1. Why 1? Mod 2, I have only 2 results, 0 and 1. So I can cover the first one in if, where mod 2 equals 0, and the other one is mod. If I had 3, mod 3 has 3 results, 0, 1 and 2. And we can do it without an else also, and I'll show you how. So let's start with our program. We're gonna need what? A num. Let's say integer num. We want to enter to determine if that number is odd or even. And remember, the mod operator is what? This operator, the mod, which gives us the remainder, is an integer operator, meaning it can only take integer, and it returns an integer. So now let's put our data. I'm gonna have cout please enter a number to determine if odd or even, and I'll do \n, and now I'll have to cin that number, enter that number, and the algorithm will be, I need to check now. I got the number inputted by the user using the cin. Now I need to check if that number mod 2, does it equal. Remember, those are relational operators, and we put equal. If you put 1 equal assignment, that is wrong. Here what it says is equal, testing, equals 0, and if that number mod 2 equals 0, what's my cout? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna output the number to show it, and say is an even number. And let's make this all capitals so we can do it this way also. We can say if I'm using just mod 2 equals 1, I'm gonna say cout num is an odd number. Hey, because I printed the result here, I'm not gonna need it here. So now we can we can run our program. Control X. You want to save? Yes, save. Now compile it first. Check there's no errors. Remember, compilation is checking if there are any errors or not. What do I want my output file to look at? And even odd.cpp, no such file or directory. Input stream, IO stream. I didn't take this as a compliment. Let's see what's wrong with that one. It's this. And now I'll run it. Please enter a number. 24. 24 is an even number. Run it again. 100. 100 is an even number. Run it again. 250. Or run it and I'll say 250 is an even number. And let's say 233 is an odd number. Let's do 99 is an odd number. Is an odd number. So it's good, it's working. Now let's go and do some modifications to the program and see how we can use an else. Here, instead of using this, what can we do? We can use an else. So if number is mod 2 equals 0, it will cover that case. That if this is true, we do what? See, out number is an even number. Else, any other situation, any other number, see out is an odd number. And why did I put 0 as an odd number? We're gonna check it now. So let's run it. Yes. Again, we have to compile because we changed in the code, and we run it. And what did we put? 100. Even 99. Odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Odd number. 250. And 0 is gonna take it as even. That's why I included, because 0 mod 2 is 0. That's why I consider it as an even number. If we need to deal with it in a different situation, we can do that and put an if statement. Now for the second program, we're gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it using gedit. I like to use different, so you get used to it, guys. I'm gonna copy first. Copy to, let's say, leapyear.cpp, and I'm gonna do gedit, and I'm gonna open the file. And let me bring it here. So now what we need to do is write a C++ program to find if a year is a leap year or not. First thing to start with, what is a leap year? We need to know what's a leap year. A leap year is a year that has 366 days, not 365 days, and which is the February. That's the extra day, 29th, and this happens every 4 years. Meaning, if your birthday was on February 29th, you celebrate your birthday every 4 years. The other 3 years is gonna be what? 28th. February is gonna be 28 days. But there's an exception here. One of the exception is century years, which are years ending 100, like every 100, 200, 300, 400. Those are centuries. Ending with 00 are not leap, can't be leap. Except (400). Whenever we have 400 or divisible by 400, it's a leap year. So how are we gonna do this program? A year that happens every 4 years. We can get what year started and start what? Adding 4s. But no, a year that is divisible by 4, meaning let's say year, you enter any year, mod 4 equals 0, that's a leap year, except century years, 100. And from century years, I have one exception. 400, which are divisible by any year that's divisible by 400, is a leap year. So let's see, for example, let's say, so if I had 1600, is it a leap year? Yes, leap year. Why? Because mod 300 divisible by, let's say divisible by 400. So is year 700 a leap year? No, it's a century, meaning happens every what? 100 years. Century year. Now if I say 19 or 1, let's say to 2016, that was a leap year. And this is, if I do mod 4, yes, it's a leap year. If I do mod 4, it will equal to 0. So let's start my declaration. I'm gonna have an integer year. Here I'll have my cout. Please enter a year to find if it is a leap year. \n and here I can say cn year. I forgot the extraction operators. Now my algorithm is gonna be, I'm gonna start with if the year entered mod 4 equals 0, like this one, this will be what? A leap year. But we said, what if it's isn't 600 another leap year? So I can say inside this will be the body. The first line after the if statement is the body of the if statement, meaning whatever, if I had this, and don't think of it as an if statement, whatever I have on line 22 is the body of the if statement. If I have another thing on line 23 here, it won't be included in the body of the if statement, only if I put what? Curly braces for line 22 and line 23. So now here, this is by default the body of the if statement, so I can say year. How do I decide if it's a century year? Meaning 100 ending with 00. Mod 100 equals 0. If year mod 4 equals 0. If year, and that same year is what? Mod 100 equals 0. That's not what? A leap year, except for what? Except for years are divisible by 400, which is like 1600. 700, no, because it's a mod 100. So here I can say, and if year, that can be the body of what? The if statement. If year, that would be the body of the second if statement. If year mod 400 equals 0, meaning divisible by 400, this will be what? See out. And let's output the year. Is leap. I just like to add it in capital letters, make it look better when it outputs, so we can. Else what? If it's not divisible by 400 and it's a 100 divisible by 100, what can I say? Else it's gonna be, and we're gonna have, I'm gonna show you something here in a minute when I run it. See out or year is not leap. So if it's divisible by 4, I check. If it's divisible by 4 that year, now there's big chances it might be leap year, but I have to check, is it a century year, meaning divisible by 100? If so, is it divisible by 400? A century year that is divisible by 400 is a leap year, which is divisible by 4. So let's try and compile this, save. Do you think it's gonna give us errors, or do we need to add anything? Is that enough to determine? So here, what if I got to here and I said this, let's make it in curly braces, This is the body of that if statement. So what if it's divisible by 4 and not a leap year, century year? It's gonna be directly a leap year. So here this is for, else for this if statement, else and let's copy paste here better. Let's use is a leap year. And what if year is equal mod 4 equals 0? I'm gonna check if it's not. So if do I need to add? What happens if it's not mod 4? That year doesn't equal 0 0. Mod 4 doesn't equal 0. Else it's gonna be what? For the first if statement, I think that way should work. It won't give us any problems. This will match with the closest if, so it will match with this. This will match with the. Okay, so yeah, it should work without any curly braces. See out. A year is not leap. Here I say if divisible by if year, and I want to comment this section. So if year mod 4 equals 0 and not what century, or and not in the year mod 100 equals 0. I'll just try to show it all in one line. Okay, and this will be for what matches with the first if year mod 4 equals 0 is false, meaning year mod 4 doesn't equal 0. It will not be a leap year. This I'm saying if it's what? This one. I'm saying if it's year, let's put year, and so we don't take that much space, let's leave it as a y mod 4 equals 0 and year mod 100 equals 0 and year mod 400 equals 0. This is for this one. So let's check now. Let's save. Git edit. Come on. Oh, I'm forgetting to G++ dash O, and let's make it Gaith, and I'm gonna check leap, compile leap here. Okay, no such file or directory. Same error because I'm copying the same file It's the one here. Should always know when I copy it. Okay, error expected, semicolon before F statement, line 21. Always go fix the first error and then go look for the rest. Where's line 21? I'm gonna need a semicolon here. I looked at 21 and it's the line before it. This is a comment, remember, it's not gonna take it. It's not gonna look at it even. Compiled, good. Let's do clear so we can see our output better. And Gaith. Please enter a year to find if it's a leap year. What did we use? We used 1700 is not leap. Let's run it again. 1600 is a leap. 2016 is a leap. And it's always really good to test your data on different input output, more than one value, not a leap year. Let's say next year leap year will be 2020. And we're gonna have, let's say, 2022, not a leap year. What about 2024, which should be a leap year. Leap. So now if I was doing this by myself, I would test what? -9 and see how the program will act to those weird numbers. Are we gonna have a negative year? So those, sometimes it's really good to include those, like if year is negative, you can put wrong input, else do the rest of the code. And I'm gonna run it also on, let's run it on a online compiler. How to go and get an online compiler? Just Google C++ compiler, and we can use this shell one. I like that one. And let's copy the code first. Oh, I took it all, so this is just documentation. This is mainly, here is the program. Check a year. 2012 was a leap year. 2012 is a leap year. We can run again. Think of 2009. Is not a leap year. So those are two really good programs. Check them. And I'm gonna start after this with lecture 8, and I'm thinking of giving a program on switch, but explaining it in switch and FLs. So thank you guys. Okay guys, sorry, I'm going back now to the previous example that we gave, the leap year, where we had 3 if statements. I didn't finish and continue and tell you how we can do it as well as one if statement. I took all the documentation off so we can see it on one page. So now what I'm saying is, how can I do all this in one if statement? Just one, using and or and not, which are logical operators. We have 3 logical operators: and, or, and not. We took them in the previous lesson. If you go to the previous video, you'll find them. How can I use those with this if statement, with one if statement, to do the same job? And you can decide if it's which one is better, if it's more efficient or not. And let's see what I can do here. So I don't want this one, I don't want this one. It's leap, it is not leap, and I don't want this. That's what I mean by one if statement, but this for sure is not gonna work. But let's, if year mod 4 equals 0, and we use the and sign, not the or, meaning what? If this is true, it doesn't care about this one. If it's false or true, it's not gonna check it. Short circuit evaluation. But here I need a year to be mod 4 equals 0, and year not equal what? Or mod 100 not equal to 0. If both of those are true, that means it's a leap year. Now we have the other condition where it's divisible by 400, mod 400, but here I'll put or year, and let's say mod 400 equals 0. So let's see how this gets here. So if a year mod 4 equals 0 and a year mod 100 doesn't equal 0, that means it's a leap year. Example, and let's take 1600. Year 1600 mod 4 equals 0, and year mod 100, does it? It's not equal 0. No, it's equal 0. So what? This is false. With this false, this will take it. Year 1600 will take it as false. Why? This is 1600 mod 100 is equal to 0. So this will return false. False with true will give me false. And now that's why I needed this condition, or. So I got this false on 1600. In this case, year mod 400 equals 0, true. So false or true is gonna give me true, meaning is a leap year. So let's test this and see how it works. Okay, let's do clear, and I'm gonna do G++ -O and Gaith, and it was leap year, one if statement. And let's try 1600. Okay, let's run it again. 1700 is not a leap year. Let's run it again. 2022 is not a leap year. Now what if I say 2012, which was a leap year, is a leap year. Now what if I say 2009, we tried that earlier, and it's not a leap year. So this is working. Another way, remember, we can do it also. We can use, how can we do it? With what? Without the if and else, by using, who remembers, can I say C out, and I'll say here year mod 4 equals 0, and year mod 100 doesn't equal 0. In this case, I'm gonna say what? Year is leap \n, and now else I'm gonna say year is not leap. Let's say if this works, should work, but honestly I don't use this that much, though it's good to use. And can we leave both of them? Yes, it will print both. And let's see, let's do a clear compile. I need to compile if I need it again. Expected before string constant. So this should be here. Why is that? Operands to have different types, integer and constant, so it should be 1. Let's try to change this thing. Okay, it's not, it doesn't. I think the problem was it doesn't like this, so how is it gonna print a variable? I can say okay, yeah, I got it. So now here I can say year and do this. This should work. Let's check. Okay, expected before token. Here I have a semicolon. Where is it? Where should it be? Semicolon before this, or I have to close it. I didn't close it. Okay. So this should be nice, and now this should be good to work. It's compiled good. Now I'll check. 2021 is not leap, both of them are working. Let's run it again. 2020 is leap. Let's run it again. Okay, what happened here? See, if I quit it at 2020, is not leap. Let's go check the code on 1600. Okay, because I didn't add the the OR condition here. OR year mod 400, and don't need to close that one. Okay, yeah, this should work. Okay, compile. Okay, 16. 1600. Why is it still didn't take it? I compiled it and I ran it. Or here, and this, and this. I didn't put, sorry guys, I didn't put equals 0. That's why I didn't take it. Or 0. But it's good we're facing these errors, so you know how to fix them. Mm, 1600, and it's leap. Okay, now it's working. Let's run it again. 20 is a leap. 2019 is not a leap. Is not a leap. What about 2000? Yep, 400, not 400. So that's good. Now I'm gonna do another program. Let's check. Okay, must copy. We're gonna input 3 numbers and find the largest number. And how can we do that? This is the must copy file. Is just a file that I always use, so we don't have to. Okay, we don't have to. Greater. Those CPP. No such file or directory. Okay, let's do clear now. Okay, it's the E. It didn't like here. Now it's good. Now I'm gonna go to nano and open the creator. Let's change this before it gives us an error. And what did we say? We need to write a program. A C++ program. That will find the largest of 3 numbers entered by the user. And let's say, for example, if I have 10, 25 and 12, it should say what? 25 is the greater. Those we're gonna have test cases. It's always good to have test cases. 60, -45 and 0. I want to see how it acts with 0 and negative numbers. This should give me 60, 1,000, 20, and this should give me 2020. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna check if this number 10 is it greater than 25? No. So now I want to set 25 as largest, and always look here, we're gonna declare 3 variables which we're gonna enter. Let's say integer num, let's put num1, num2, and num3, and I can declare largest as what? A variable, and I can set it, or I can just check if num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is greater than num3, what? See out num1 is the greater. Else, if what? I can have a net. If num2 is greater than num1 and num2 greater than 12, or what? Else, if it's not, is num3 greater than num1 and num3 greater than num2, that means that's the largest. So here we're gonna have in our code, let's go and let's do it real quick. See out, please enter 3 numbers to find the largest. \n, let's put a semicolon here, and now I'm gonna do cn1, num1, num2, and num3, and now my algorithm is gonna be, first thing I'm gonna check num1. If num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is greater than num3, that means what? See out num1 is the let's put it this way so you can get used to the larger. Then I'm gonna output num2 and num3, and here I'll put and here I'll add end line. I'm just making the output look really nice. I'm saying if num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is greater than num3, see out num1 is larger than num2 and num3. You can put here and you can put whatever you want. Let's put it and if you want and change it so we can know. And I want to put a capital letter just so for fun. Now what we can do is I'm gonna need 2 copies of this. Okay. So first one, second one I'm gonna check. So we're gonna check num2 is greater than num1 and num2 is greater than num3, then see out what? Num2 is larger than num1 and num3. Now I'm gonna check num3. If num3 is greater than num1 and num3 is greater than num2, that means num3 is greater than num1 and num2. I just wanted them to be in order, so we'll do this first, and here I'm gonna put them with if else's so that way they look better. Else, if this is false, I'm gonna check if this is false, if num1 is not greater than num2 and num1 is not greater than num3. So do I need to check this one? Yeah, because I have an and sign. It has to do both. And now here I'll have okay, now here I can have else, so else means that num3 is going to be greater by default, so I can take this out. I can't have else if, why? Because I need an closing else, closing this. So let's see, and let's do clear, and I have g plus plus dash o, and what was my code? Gaith, and I can, what did we name it? Greater. Okay, it ran. Please enter 3 numbers to find the largest. What did we have in our data? And 40. 25 is larger than, let's run it again. Let's put, we had I think 60, and we had a negative value, and we had a 0. 60 is larger than, so that's good. Let's run it again, and let's put 100 and put 2000 and put 4444. So my program is running good, working, everything is good. Sorry guys, I know my lectures are taking, my videos are taking about an hour most. I don't want to put 10 minutes videos and not explain everything in detail. I want you to know really good examples, practice them, and remember 99% depends on practicing and 1% depends on smartness. So don't think that's a good programmer, he's smarter than me. No, he's trying better. He's trying 99%. Maybe he's trying out of that 80%. You're trying 10%. So as much as you put, that's why I don't want my videos 10 minutes. What is it going to be out of 99%? So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you, and exit.